Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 380th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. As it's a Friday bank holiday here, I thought I would put on a Friday bonus battle for you to watch. Now, this battle just isn't any ordinary battle. I have never put a battle on like this before in the past 379 battles that I've put on. And the reason for that is because we in the Brotherhood have been looking at different rules for 31k. Not to replace the existing rules, but just to kind of use from time to time to kind of mix it up a little bit with a 31k game. Now in this battle we've got a 10 cavalry max and an 8 chariot max. So if you wanted to bring, say, Seleucid, you could bring 10 cavalry and 8 archers and have a really mobile, hard-hitting attacking army if you wanted to. So 10 cavalry and 8 archers. Now, how many of you have seen Numidia, the Numidia faction on the 31k battlefield? I would think most of you have never seen that before. Well, we're trying to get Numidia onto the 31k battlefield by giving them a 4 LE max and no cavalry max. Okay, so we're trying to get Numidia onto the 31k battlefield as well as other little known factions. Okay, our first teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Carthage faction. Now, I was going to bring Numidia, but I see one of the enemy teams bought Greek cities, so I thought, well, I'll bring my anti-Greek cities Carthage army here along to try and counter the Greek cities. Otherwise, I was going to bring Numidia. So you can see there, I think I've got about 13 spearmen, 3 Balearic slingers, and 3 cavalry there. That's just my old standard Carthage army. But let's get on to the more interesting army builds here. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Steve Longshanks, who has bought the Macedon faction. But let's have a look at his army build. Can you see he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's got 10 cavalry. So he's taken advantage of the new rules. 10 cavalry. He's got 1 pike and 4 long-range Cretan archers. Now my guess is those cavalry are going to be max. That's what I'm thinking. Let's have a look. Yep, and his companion cavalry is maximum upgrades. Okay, so that's 9 upgrades, 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, so he's got 10 companion cavalry fully upgraded. Okay, plus he's got 4 long-range Cretan archers and 1 pike unit. Okay, so that'd be interesting to see there, but it is a bit light on infantry. I wonder whether that make a difference towards the end of the battle. We just have to wait and see. Now, this is a very, very interesting army, Numidia. Now, as I said a bit earlier, have any of you seen Numidia on the 31k battlefield? My guess is possibly not. A lot of you haven't. If you notice here, Legion's got 3 archer units. No, sorry, he's got 5 archer units, 3 at the front, 2 at the back. Now, these archers here, I'll just show you these units because you might not have seen them before. Okay, now these archers are short range, not very good damage, and actually Numidia itself, the actual faction is quite poor really, so they need all the help they can get. If you notice, he's got legionnaires there, Numidian legionnaires, fully upgraded, so he's got 9 upgrades, 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now these legionnaires can throw pylons, but their specifications are so poor that even fully upgraded, they're still susceptible to archer fire head on. Okay, so even though they're fully upgraded, they look a little bit like urban cohorts, their morale and specifications are very poor in comparison. But they are fully upgraded, and as I say, he's got 6, he got 8 of them, and as I say, he's got 5 short range archers there. Okay, now if you look at his cavalry, now this is something, how many of you have seen camels on the 31k battlefield? You see he's got those Numidian camel riders there, and that's fully upgraded, 5, 6, 7, 8, yep, they're fully upgraded camels. There's a close-up. As I say, a lot of you may not have seen Numidian units before, but there you can see there the camel riders, Numidian camel riders. They're only light cavalry, but remember, camels bring a fear factor to enemy cavalry. Okay, and of course a fear factor lowers the morale of enemy cavalry, makes them more susceptible to routing. Anyway, there's a close-up of them. So I say they're only light cavalry, but that the effect that those camels bring to enemy cavalry could be maybe a deciding factor towards the end of the battle. So as he's got 1, 2, 3, I think he's got 6 of those. But also, here's a unit that we don't see very often, elephants. Okay, so he's got 2 units of elephants here. As I say, for this battle it was only 2 elephants, but we decided to give them 4 now, to give them a bit more of a chance. Now these are only mercenary elephants, and not armoured, okay? You'll see Carthage armoured elephants are all, as I say, all armoured, but these are just mercenary ones. And if you notice, the men that are sat on the back of the elephant fire arrows as well, they shoot arrows as well. So those elephants not only can smash into enemy troops when alt attacked, but their men on the back also cause casualties with arrows. So as I say, there's a close-up look at those elephants there, because when was the last time we saw elephants on a 31k battlefield? A long time ago. So I think that's a pretty interesting Numidian army. And remember, all these armies are experimental. We just put this, change these rules all of a sudden for this particular battle, just for something a bit different. So as I say, all these armies are experimental. And as I say, Numidia now we've decided to give 4 Elis max and no max on cavalry, just to try and get Numidia onto the 31k battlefield if we can. Okay, our 4th teammate is Brotherhood member Crypto, the host of this game on his custom map, and as you see, he's bought the Armenia faction. Now he's got 6 heavy spearmen there, and I see he's got 7 upgrades. So he's got an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on those heavy spearmen. Now these spearmen aren't too bad actually, they're quite good, and of course they've got an anti-cavalry bonus, and they're not too bad troops actually. I would prefer these over the Legionnaires. I think actually they seem to stand better than the Legionnaires. Now, of course, he's got 4 of the short-range archers, because that's all they've got is short-range. But my guess is he might have upgraded them. Yeah, he's upgraded them well. If you notice, he's got 8 upgrades. So he's got 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on his archers there. I see he's got 4 of those. And then let's have a look at his cavalry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's got 8 cataphracts. Okay, now remember, these are the tanks of the ancient world. Let's have a look at the upgrades he's put on them. Okay, so he's got 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on these cataphracts. Let's have a look at them there. As you say, the tanks of the ancient world, armoured from head to toe. That's why we call them the tanks of the ancient world. And I see he's got 8 of them, all with 8 upgrades on. So that's some serious cavalry there. But as I say, at the moment we may be infantry light in comparison to the other team. We'll have to wait and see. As you can see, he's got 2 horse archers here as well, and they're pretty good. And they've got what? 1, 2, 3. They've got 8 upgrades on. So you put them into Canterbury Circle, and they can do a lot of damage. Because you see, they're like wearing their pajamas. They're like, you know, they're wearing some unusual pajamas. So there's our team there. As I say, these are all experimental armies, but we thought we'd just shake it up a little bit with the 31k rules. So I hope you enjoy it. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Cal, who has bought the Seleucid faction. Now it looks like he's just bought like a basic 31k army here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You've got something like 12 pikes, 2 archers, and I think 5 cavalry. If you look at his pilot shield units there, you'll see he's gone for the cheaper pike units, the phalanx pikemen, and I think he's got 7 upgrades on his phalanx pikemen. So he's got an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. But straight away you can see he's got a lot of infantry there in comparison to us. Okay, you can see he's got 8 upgrades on his secondary battle line there. So he's got 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on the rest of his pikemen there. So that's quite a good formation. He's got 2 of their archers there. Of course, Seleucid archers are short range. I think he's got about 6 upgrades on them, and then he's got his 5 cataphracts. Be interesting to see what the upgrades are on those cataphracts. Okay, he's just got 6 upgrades on the cataphracts, so that is just gold shield, gold attack. So basically that's just an ordinary 31k army really, I think. And here is another unusual army and faction to see on a 31k battlefield. This is Brotherhood member Mad King, who has bought Parthia. When was the last time we saw Parthia on a 31k battlefield? Very rare. Okay, you can see he's got horse archers here. These horse archers, as I say before, with other horse archers, they form Canterbury circles, very difficult to kill and can do a lot of damage once they get into those Canterbury circles. Ordinary foot archers just don't seem to do a lot against them. I see he's got 3 upgrades. I see he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's got something like 10 archers, but remember these guys are short range archers, and see they look like they're wearing their pajamas as well. But yeah, so there are 10 archers there, but they're all very short range. Now if you notice here, 6, what's he got? 4, 5, 6, 7. I think he's got 8 units here, but if we look closely, can you see what they are? They are armoured camels, cataphract camels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he's got 9, I think they're fully upgraded. 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now there's a close-up of a cataphract camel. For those 31k players who don't see Parthia on the 31k battlefield, as you can see, they're like tanks of the ancient world, armoured from head to toe. And remember, these camels bring a fear factor to enemy cavalry, okay, which lowers the morale of enemy cavalry and make them more susceptible to routing. And he's got a fully upgraded Eastern Cavalry General. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep. 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. And this unit has got fantastic specifications in its own right. But you fully upgrade it and it makes this unit extremely hard to kill. So that is a really good, solid general unit there. And as I say, it would take a lot to kill that general. As you can see, the Parthian general there sat on his horse with his cataphract bodyguard. So there's a Parthia army. Now, when was the last time you saw Parthia on the 31k battlefield? This is why we're changing the rules a little bit to try and encourage more unusual factions onto the 31k battlefield. Our next teammate is a Brotherhood member, enemy team, is a Brotherhood member Aurelius, who's bought the Greek cities faction. That's why I bought my Carthage army there, to try and counter Greek cities. Otherwise, I said I was going to bring Numidia. So he's got 4 long-range Cretan archers. He's got 4 armoured hoplites as his pilot shield units, and 8, 9, I think he's got 11 Spartan units there, gold shield, gold attack on. So once again, that's basically a normal 31k army there. I think his general's got 7 upgrades on, so he's got an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his general. So let's say that's a basic 31k army there. And then we're going to move over to their 4th teammate, who is Brotherhood member Bark, who's bought the Pontus faction. Now, as you can see here, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 8 Cappadocian cavalry. Let's have a look at the upgrades on that Cappadocian cavalry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's got 8 upgrades. 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Those of you who haven't seen a Cappadocian cavalry before, as you can see, they're well armoured cavalry. And with those 8 upgrades on, that's going to make them pretty tough there. So as I say, there's 8 of those there. So they're going to be something to contend with. And he's got 5 archer units there. Of course, Pontus archers are all short range. But I think they're fully upgraded from what I could see. I think they're fully upgraded. And he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the pike units there with 7 upgrades on. Experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. But if you've noticed here with the enemy army, they have got a lot of infantry in comparison to us. Now, whether that will prove pivotal towards the end of the battle, we'll just have to wait and see. Hope you enjoy these new rules and hope you enjoy the new armies. Just to say, right at the very beginning of the battle here, you can see how far forward Legion is with his Numidian army. That must be how confident he's feeling with the Numidians against the enemy here, facing Parthia. As I say, he looks like he's going to be aggressive with Numidia. Should be good to watch. Okay, at this really early stage of the battle here, you can see Crypto using his light missile cavalry there to come over and try to harass and harangue the Seleucid cavalry. Remember those light cavalry there, those horse archers there can outrun any heavy cavalry all day. But as they're running, do you notice they're shooting at the enemy cavalry as well? So if you start chasing horse archers around with cavalry, you will take casualties and you won't ever catch them. So maybe it's best to back off there. I can see some of the Seleucid cataphracts there are being hit by cavalry, those archers there. I see Mad King bought his fast moving horse archers over as well to try and counter those. But as you can see here, Crypto's moving his army over to the centre there, and we're all trying to form up in the centre here. As I say, our Numidian ally Legion 22 is out the front of our army there, looking like he wants to be really aggressive with those Numidian troops. And as I say, you can see my Carthage Sacred Band running over to come over to Numidia, because it looks like the Greek cities look like they may be targeting our Numidian allies. So that's why I'm bringing my Carthage army as fast as I can over to this central position to maybe integrate my army with the Numidian army there to maybe counter any Greek cities attack. But I think you should enjoy this battle with these different rules. As I say, this is the first time I've ever put a battle like this on our channel. So the other 379 have never been like this. So I hope you find this quite interesting. Right, you can see here that the enemy Cretan archers or slingers, I think you've got a couple of slingers there moving forward to target the Numidian archers there. Yeah, you can see those are Rhodian slingers there. I think he's got a mixture of slingers and archers as Aurelius. Right, see those fire arrows from the Numidian archer shooting into those Rhodian slingers. That's a lot. Remember those fire arrows don't just cause casualties, but they cause panic amongst the enemy troops as well. You can see that unit there has been reduced down to 34 men already from 81, so that's already suffered a lot of casualties there from those Numidian archers. If you notice, the Numidian archers seem to have some on fire arrows and some on normal arrows there. Remember, normal arrows do more damage, but the fire arrows cause panic as well as causing casualties. There's a lot of those Rhodian slingers have been taken out at this stage. Over here on our left flank here, you can see Steve is moving his fully upgraded companion cavalry over to this left flank, probably looking to take out those Parthian archers that are a bit forward of their cavalry. Here you are, those fully upgraded companion cavalry going to smash into those archers. He needs to watch out for those Parthian camels though. It'll be interesting to see what happens if he has to take them on. Right, can you see Mad King bringing his Parthian camels forward towards Steve's cavalry there? Okay, this is going to be one hell of a hit when those camels hit those Macedon cavalry there. See those camels going in and bang as those camels smash into Steve's fully upgraded companion cavalry. Now remember, those camels bring a fear factor to cavalry. Okay, right, can you see Crypto bringing his Armenian cataphract cavalry over here to support Steve? But can you see all of Steve's cavalry, those fully upgraded companion cavalry, most of them have just routed after being hit by those camels. Right, can you see here now that Crypto's Armenian cataphract, heavily upgraded cataphract, smashing into those camels. Let's just pause the game for a second. So remember, purple are Parthia, bluish are Armenia here. Now if you notice, if we look closely, can you see that both of them have alt attacked? Can you see they both got their effective against maces out here, okay? So they're not fighting with their light spears anymore, they've got their effective against armor maces out. But I think that the camels are going to have an advantage here solely because they bring a fear factor that frighten enemy cavalry, therefore lowering their morale, therefore making them more susceptible to routing. Right, can you see the Seleucid, enemy Seleucid cavalry trying to trace down the Armenian general? If they kill the Armenian general, remember Armenia's got low morale, bang! They've killed the Armenian general now, so the morale of all his troops would drop, which is low anyway. And if those Seleucid cavalry charge into the back of the Armenian cavalry as well. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. Okay, so all of the Armenian cavalry has now been routed. I think all of Steve's cavalry was routed, but with full upgrades on, I think they'll probably rally. But at this time here, you can see on our left flank, all our Armenian cavalry has just been routed. Right over here, can you see that Numidian camel riders have charged in to those cataphracts there? Let's say, can you see the camel riders are using their light spears against the effective against armor maces? But if you look at the Numidian riders, they're not armored. Okay, so those effective against armor maces are going to make no difference against non-armored troops. They're just going to be ordinary weapons. Okay, so those Numidian camel riders are not armored, so those effective against armor maces won't make that much of a difference. We've also got Macedon cavalry in there as well, trying to help out. But when was the last time you saw camels fighting each other on the 31k battlefield? This is why we wanted to make things a little bit different. Try and shake things up a little bit with the 31k rules. Obviously, we still keep the old 31k rules, but do this now and again for a bit of little bit of a difference. You can see those cataphract camels are holding well there. But you can see the rest of those cataphract Parthia camels are moving across here to join the fray. I see Armenia's got a spear unit in there as well. Bang as those camels smash in. Plus, I think you've got Seleucid heavy cavalry in as well, and bang as they charge in. Those Numidian camels, to me, those Numidian light camels are holding well against that massive hit. Let's just pause again. Now remember, Numidia's got poor morale. All their specifications are pretty bad. Really, that's why they're not brought to 31k battlefield. But I think they're holding well. Steve's bringing a pike unit across, and don't forget, Legion's still got his elephants to bring in yet when he's ready to bring them in. But at the moment, there, I think those cataphract camels are holding well. I see some of Crypto's cavalry has now rallied. Okay, so that's good. Some of his units have now rallied, so he can start using those. All the time here, he's got his horse archers in those Canterbury circles, plus he's got his foot archers as well, shooting into the enemy cavalry. So they're going to be causing casualties with those cavalry there. And Steve's cavalry, those companion cavalry, have now rallied, look, and he's taking out the enemy archers. But here, in the main centre of the battle here, those Numidian camels, I think, bearing in mind that they're, classed as a lesser 31k faction, I think they held quite well there against that enemy force. Okay, they've all routed now, but I think they held for a reasonable time there. But as you can see here on our left flank now, the enemy have become dominant with that cavalry. Okay, they have routed most of our cavalry here on our left flank and have now become cavalry dominant. I think I see Crypto's just charged in some rallied cavalry there, but they may well rout. See, rallied cavalry or rallied units of any type, their morale will be low anyway, so the chances are they will rout there. Okay, you can see here that Steve's remember fully upgraded companion cavalry are now taking on those Seleucid cavalry there. Okay, now my guess is they both alt-attack. Steve will probably be fighting with his heavy swords. Yeah, he's got their swords out there, which do more damage than the light lances. And as you can see there, they could well rout those Seleucid cavalry there. But as you can see, there's some Seleucid pikemen coming in behind them that may attack. Okay, so let's just pause the game for a second. So as I said here, you can see Steve's fully upgraded companion cavalry taking on those Seleucid cavalry there. But over here, Legion's finally decided to bring his Elis in to attack. Can you see I've got my 3 Sacred Band cavalry in there, and he's brought his elephants over as well here to try and counter these camels. These cataphract camels there. So bang! As those elephants go in there, okay? Now remember, those elephants are not armoured. So it's no good using alt-attack in there, because the effective against armour mace, obviously if the troops aren't armoured, won't do any more damage than an ordinary weapon. Right, can you see a lot of the Parthian units there? There you are. Parthian general just been killed by an elephant. A Numidian elephant has just killed the Parthian general there. So as you can see there, the combination of my cavalry and those elephants have just routed those Parthian camels and the Parthian general there. Meanwhile over there you can see that Steve's companion cavalry has completely surrounded those Seleucid cavalry and have taken them out. So what looked really bad on our left flank cavalry wise, we've managed to turn things around there and routed most of the enemy cavalry. But what I'd like to draw your attention to is they've still got the Greek city spears, the Seleucid pikes and the Pontus pikes. And all we've got is me and Numidia for infantry wise. And if you notice, the Pontus cavalry, those well upgraded Cappadocian cavalry, are now behind my spearmen. Okay, so I've got Pontus pikemen at the front and loads of cavalry in behind us. And if you look round now, you can see that we have beaten a lot of the enemy cavalry up there. We have routed a lot of them, but we have not got a lot of cavalry left ourselves. And as I say, it wouldn't surprise me if, as I say, it's just me and Numidia's got infantry left to fight. Right, see the Cappadocian cavalry? I bet they're going for my general. See, they're going to smash into the rear of my spear now. Bang! Those units hit. But I've spotted them and I've turned my units to face them. And remember, Carthage is a pretty good faction, especially against cavalry. And I think we've caused them a few casualties there by turning. But I'm in an awkward position there, because as I say, I've got Pontus pikemen coming in, well upgraded Pontus pikemen coming in from that direction, and well upgraded Pontus cavalry looking to smash into the rear of my units there. I think the only best thing for me to do is to try and pull over to my Numidian ally and try and link up with his infantry so we can at least fight side by side, or maybe even integrate our units. Let's pause the game for a second. So over here on our left flank, you can see that a lot of Crypto's Armenian units are shooting arrows into the enemy team. Both his HAs and his foot archers there causing a lot of casualties with the enemy. Steve's cavalry there are going around the battlefield, taking out a lot of the weaker units there. Maybe a lot of archer units there stop shooting in on us. As you can see, the piles of cavalry here dead from those earlier cavalry hits. So to say, it felt an exciting battle. This did, as so many mobile units going around. But unfortunately, look at the troops that the enemy have got left. Loads of pikes against me and Numidia's infantry. We've still got the Elis there, and here you can see Crypto still got his some of his heavy spearmen left there. And Steve's still got some of his archers left here. But as I say, if you look at the enemy infantry that's left against what we've got left here, I think it's going to be a bit of a tall order here. As I say, really, I've got this Sacred Band cavalry to take on the Greek cities. That's who I want to try and hit here. But as I say, at this particular point, I think I need to up spears and run over to my Numidian ally and link up with my Numidian ally there. I don't want to be out on my own, where I could be hitting the rear by those cavalry, as well as being hitting the front by those pikemen there. Remember, I bought this Carthage Sacred Band army just really to take on the Greek cities. Right, can you see the Numidian pikemen there throwing their pilers, the Numidian infantry, sorry, throwing their pilers into the Greek cities there. Okay, but their piler damage is a lot less than urban cohorts, so even though they say legionnaires and they throw pilers, their damage is a lot less than what urban cohorts would do. But as you can see here, I'm taking my Carthage Sacred Band through my Numidian ally here to take on those Greek city spearmen. Okay, So that's, as I say, that's the reason I bought that around. I'm hoping that my Numidian ally, just pause the game for a second. So as I say here, I'm bringing my Carthage Sacred Band over to try and neutralise those Greek city units, and I'm hoping my Numidian ally would be able to deal with Pontus. As I say, Pontus' morale's not very good, so I'm hoping that maybe Numidia might be able to hold here while I try and neutralise the Greek cities. Okay, but even though we've got a lot of archers shooting them, can you see all those Seleucid pikemen moving across as well? Plus the Parthia archers there, what's there, 7 or 8 of those shooting into us as well. Okay, we've still got our Elis left, 2 lots of Elis left there, so it'll be interesting to see how Legion uses them and when he uses them. But as I say, at the moment I'm moving my Sacred Band forward here to try and neutralise the Greek cities as much as I can. Right, can you see Pontus running in here on Numidia? They haven't put their pikes down yet. I think they just fancied charging in there and then put their pikes down. But as it's all the time here, I'm being aggressive, my Carthage army. I'm moving forward into those Greek city ranks as hard as I can. See that Pontus heavy cavalry coming in and bang, straight into the back of the Numidian general. Oh no, Numidian general has just routed. Now as we know, Numidian morale's not very good anyway, but now the general's routed, that's going to cause even more panic. Right, you see Legion's brought his elephants in now to try and counter. Look how big those elephants are compared to that cavalry there. He's brought those elephants in there now to try and do what damage he can to the Cappadocian cavalry. So that's a nice hit here there by his elephants there, charging in. Don't forget they bring the fear factor. The elephants bring a fear factor to enemy cavalry, as well as causing damage. Right, can you see, as I say, the Numidian elephants are being brought in to attack those Cappadocian cavalry. As I say, the elephants bring a fear factor to cavalry. As you can see, my Carthage Sacred Band is making inroads into the Greek cities, which I'm trying to take out if I can. But see all those Seleucid pikemen there on our left. I see Crypto's taking some of his spearmen forward to try and neutralise those Seleucid pikemen, but if they move round to the rear of us, then I think that could be game over. But as I say here, you can see the Cappadocian cavalry being pulled back from the elephants. Don't forget the men on top of those elephants will also be shooting arrows into the enemy as well. So there's the elephants there. As I say, this is the first time we've ever done anything like this out of 380 battles. This is the first one we've ever done. So I hope you're enjoying it as much as I think we did. Right, you can see here a lot of the Numidian Elis being killed by pikemen there. Sad to see the Elis go down, but that's what pikes do to elephants there. And as you see, my Carthage Sacred Band are routing a few of the Greek city units there with just pure aggression, going straight into those Greek cities. I know that speed is the essence here. If I can take out those Greek city units and then turn my spearmen onto the enemy pikemen that are coming in around, maybe we might still be able to do some good here. But I see the Seleucid, some Seleucid pikemen are moving in behind us. And there is a big wedge of Pontus pikemen moving in on us as well, moving into my Numidian ally there. But as I say, those Seleucid pikemen are around behind us. If you notice, I've moved my general to try and face a threat there, while I keep the rest of my Carthage Sacred Band units moving forward, trying to take out those Greek city units. Right, can you see that one elephant user going to charge into the back of those Spartans? See that elephant unit going in, bang! See him throw those spearmen up in the air there. But if you notice that the spearmen have turned and have started to kill the elephants there, look. Sad, as I say, sad to see the elephants go down there, but that's what spearmen do. Legion did really good with those elephants, I thought, as well as he did with the rest of his army as well. But as you can see here, it's just Numidian legionnaires and my Carthage Sacred Band against all those pikemen. So things maybe not looking very good. We've taken out a lot of the Greek city units, as you can see. I see Crypto's got his horse archers up shooting arrows into the enemy as well. But it looks like a numbers game here for the enemy. If you notice all the Pontus pikemen, you've still got some Greek city units left, and you've got all those Seleucid pikemen pushing forward as well. So I did quite good, I thought, with my Carthage Sacred Band. I took a lot of Greek cities out. See that Cappadocian cavalry going in, bang! Wouldn't surprise me if it routed yet. Routed a couple of my units there, as well as the Numidian units there. It routed as well. It was a nice hit there by the Cappadocian cavalry. Let's just pause the game for a second here. So as I say, you can see that's all the infantry got left. It's my spearmen and a couple of Numidian units there against those Seleucid pikemen, Pontus pikemen, Pontus cavalry as well. So as I say, things there's some more Pontus pikemen moving forward there. So let's say things not looking very good for our team at this time. As you can see, all the enemy are now moving in onto my Numidian ally and myself. Or my Numidian ally, I think most of his units has now been routed there. And if you notice, some of my units are starting to rout as well, with the pressure of all those pikes coming in from all different directions. Greek cities, Seleucid and Pontus all pushing in on my my Sacred Band spearmen there. So I think, as you can see, they're like kind of clamp. It's like a clamp of enemy units clamping in on my my Sacred Band spearmen there. And you can see my general's just been routed as well, and you can see that the enemy have gone on to win. So really well done to the enemy team there. Really well played. And as you can see, I've just most of my units have, as I say, now been taken out. So yeah, well played. I think the enemy infantry numbers there told in the end, but I thought the cavalry battles were quite interesting. Barak's been shooting arrows into us all the way through the battles as well, so that would have been causing a lot of problems for us. But just have a look at the battlefield here. You can see the big cavalry hits that happened over here on the left flank by just looking at the enemy dead and our dead on the battlefield there. Big cavalry hits there, both camels and cavalry horses as well. I mean, that was great. I thought it was nice to see. Let's say it's the first time we've done this in 380 battles, and I hope you enjoy it. Crypto still got some horse archers left, but in general, that'd be the end of the battle there. As I say, these new rules that we've brought in are not to replace the old rules, but just to play now and again, just to kind of mix it up a little bit, if you like. And I think we all kind of enjoyed this, even though you know, whoever won or whoever lost, it was just an enjoyable battle. It was quite exciting, we thought. So as I say, we'll be playing these rules in the future as well for anybody that joins our battles. Just now and again, we'll be playing these rules with these experimental armies. But as you can see there, the enemy have done well, really played well. As I say, the infantry advantage that they had, that you could see at the beginning of the battle, really did tell towards the end there. Okay, first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. You say we suffered an average defeat there, which I think was a fair reflection there of the battle. You see that old Spartan army of mine just managed to scrape in the most kills there. Crypto did well, Legion did well, Steve Longchamp. Look at the enemy kills as well. They did quite good as well. Mad King did well. Bearing in mind that was just an archer and cavalry army there. I thought he did good. 1,261. Parthia did good. And also Aurelius with his Greek cities did well. Barak did well with Pontus as quite good as well. Even Numidia, look. Bearing in mind that we now give them 4 LE max and no max on cavalry as well. I still think that's pretty good for Numidia. As I say, how many of you have seen Numidia on the 31k battlefield? Steve Longshanks did quite good as well, bearing in mind he was just a cavalry and archer army there. So as I say, this gave us a chance, these new rules gave us a chance to experiment with new armies, and it was quite interesting. And also, can you see something else here? This is a 4v4. How often do you see 8 different factions in a 4v4? Very rare. And if you notice, no Rome factions at all, just all different factions here. And it was you know, that really added, I think, to the interest of this battle, where we were all trying different armies, you know, and different factions there as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. And as I say, these new rules aren't to replace the old ones, but it's just to play now and again to make things like a little bit more interesting. And I hope you enjoyed watching them. And as I say, with so many different factions, you know, it's a really interesting battle to play, and you could feel the excitement as you were playing it. Spartan Commander saying bye for now.